Welcome to the Get Trauma Informed podcast, dedicated to unraveling the complexities of trauma, its pervasive impact, and the journey towards holistic recovery and realignment. If your radiance has ever felt muted, like I and thousands of others, you're in the right place to reignite your inner light. I'm your host, Wellness Coach Liz Blanding, and this is the Get Trauma Informed podcast. Welcome to another episode or another installation. I want to say round number 4 in the Beyond the Battlefield of Trauma mini-series with my co-host, Mr. Carpenter. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm a little sleepy. I didn't get to bed till 4 last night. So, hey, what you see is what you get.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I guess that actually takes us right into our topic for today. You know, in our mini series, we are on episode number 4 in Beyond the Battlefield of Trauma, Overcoming Military PTSD and Civilian PTSD. I mean, you talk about being a little bit sleepy today. That's a part of what one of the symptoms or side effects of PTSD or complex PTSD is. And we talk about the sleepless nights today, and we're going to address memory loss, and we're going to address some overwhelm. But we don't bring challenges without bringing some type of solution or resolve as well. So we're going to talk about the importance of setting the right restful atmosphere when we get ready to shut down for the night, and how, continuing on our understanding of how important self-care is.
I forgot to ask, how are you today, Coach Liz?
Actually, yeah, we're gonna send something over to you. We're gonna send some phototherapy or some energy, something. Not energy drinks, y'all. We're not doing energy drinks. We're doing all things healthy, all things holistic. So I am doing well today. I did get a very, very good night's sleep, and as we continue to move forward, we're going to talk about some of the self-care mechanisms and modalities that I use, because I do absolutely understand I do not want to be on that circle, on that cycle, on that hamster wheel of continuously moving forward, relapsing, moving forward, relapsing, moving forward and relapsing, because that's where I've been. That's where I've lived the majority of my life. And, there is a freedom in getting a good understanding, mapping out your plan, and then moving forward in that plan. Not saying that any road is going to be perfect, but we can set ourselves up for the great win by being aware. And that's what the Get Trauma Informed movement is all about.
Got it.
So let's talk a little bit about, for those of you that have not, been on this journey with us, we are in episode number 4 in a 6-part mini series about PTSD, meaning the civilian side of complex PTSD, and also the military side of PTSD, which Mr. Carpenter brings a lot of experience, wisdom, and knowledge, and is sharing what that PTSD experience is all about. And then I bring the citizens, or I'm saying citizens, here I go with my words again, the civilian side of complex PTSD. And I've noticed as I've been reviewing some of our episodes, I know this is a topic that I'm being very transparent and real and raw about. And so I'm listening to myself as I'm listening to the retakes of the episodes, and I'm understanding I'm walking through the PTSD or CPTSD experience, because the anxiety and we talked about it on our last episode. We talked about the fear. We talked about the anxiousness. We talked about all of those things that we carry with us. But the one thing that, I want to express to all of us is that we become resilient in this whole battle. And so no matter, and being transparent is one of the things that can reach and help other people, because none of us are perfect. Whether we're walking through this experience or not, none of us are perfect. And, walking through this experience takes it to a whole nother level.
Yes.
Right. So let's get back on topic about the sleepless nights. Man, I'm telling you, that's been my what do you call it? Playing field for a long time. What do you want to share about the sleepless nights?
Well, I want to go a little deeper, because This is our fourth installment of the series on Beyond the Battlefield, but it's of trauma right now. And I am seeing PTSD played out in me right now. And you know, I'm part of your panel here, and I understand, but it touches everybody. Nobody's immune. Even your best laid plans, it still get you. Because right now I'm struggling with PTSD right now as we do this. Because not only I had a sleepless night last night, and it's the thought of my initial hyper vigilant, being on alert. I don't want to let the people down because I know so many people can benefit from what we're discussing right now. And thinking about that, I want to make sure I do my part. I want to make sure I'm extra prepared. I want to make sure that I can deliver value and something that somebody can be a part of this and walk away with something that will help them. So because of that, now I'm having sleepless nights. I couldn't sleep last night because I was so concerned about getting it right, completing the mission. So not only have I had a sleepless night last night, I'm feeling the memory loss. Right now, I'm struggling to keep up with you, Dr. Liz, coming out the gate of this subject. And it's almost as if I'm overwhelmed, almost if I'm overwhelmed trying to make sure I get it right. That perfectionist in me want to get it right. So I'm overwhelmed because I want to get every piece of information I can bring. I want to be well prepared. I want to give everybody everything I got. I want to make sure that I uphold my part of this mission and getting the word out and helping people understand that PTSD is real. It's something that even if we get the medical support and the other support, we still face it. It's not a one and done type thing where you go get the medical support and then you feel you okay, next day you're good, you're cured, you can ever walk free of this. That's not our destiny. That's not for me. For me, I struggle with it. Now, the majority of the time I masquerade very well, and I look better than what I'm going through. And I've learned to do that now, but suffering in silence is no fun. Turn it back over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I as you're saying that and as we're walking through this actual live, experience, right? Because today is one of the days that I feel amazing, right? I feel great. I have high energy. But there are days that I totally get what you're saying. It's sort of like being on a roller coaster ride, right? It's those extreme highs and extreme lows, the ups and the downs. And you're right. We do go through life with it's a masquerade dance to us. And I say a masquerade dance because you're always looking to put your best foot forward, which everybody does that, or most people do. You put your best foot forward, but there's this inner struggle. There's this struggle behind the scenes. So one of the things that I've learned to do to make sure that I feel at the very best that I can is I remember I told you, I think it was a couple of episodes ago, I'm on a self-care regimen. Like I am in the services, like I'm in the army. I put myself through a boot camp every day, my own self. So I'm my own commander in chief, right? So every morning I make sure that that I exercise. I get 30 minutes in on the bike, and no matter how I'm feeling, no matter how much pain I'm in, and as I'm doing that, I'm releasing a lot of the toxins that are built up in my body that build up overnight. I do a stretch. I talked about a meditation, a deep stretch yoga meditation. I know the day is going to be off to a right start when I do those things. I must get proper nutrition. So I must eat breakfast. I must drink my water, a couple of 12-ounce glasses, jars. I do this every single day before I leave the house. So my day to go out the house, it can't start an hour or 2 hours before. I have to get up at least 2 to 3 hours before it's time for me to be on the way out the door because I have to do all of those things, my prayer, my meditation. It's not, if I get up late or what have you, I know my day is going to be downhill because if I don't get that my adrenaline going, I don't get my body pumped up. I don't, it already takes a couple of minutes to actually get up and roll out because you got to shake all the, what do you call them? I want to say creepies or crap, whatever you want to call it, how you crickling in the morning, right? your your
Okay.
your your uh your joints and everything, being out of whack. So I totally get it, but that is another reason. And I wanted to address what you said, about being in that space of feeling like you have to be perfect, the hypervigilant space. So, I don't know if this is gonna help or not, but giving a little bit of positive feedback, you've already done it by showing up. You've already given like what we all need, right? We need to see behind the scenes of what it looks like. We need to know what the experience is with taking off the mask, taking off the masquerade dance. When you said, I showed up anyway, even though I'm tired today, low energy, I want to be, I want to be perfect in that. And that's a part of that whole PTSD, CPTSD experience, is that you do want to be perfect and you're harder on yourself, So everybody say, well, that's like everybody else. Well, no, we're talking about going even deeper. Like we're harder on ourselves, And so just wanted to let you know, thank you, because you showed up. You didn't cancel. You didn't do like most of the time when we say we go into isolation and pull the covers over our head. You didn't do that. You say, you know what, I'm gonna push forward because we need to see the truth, how this experience shows up in our life, and it can show up any day. It can show up anytime. And so those spaces that I was talking about, as far as creating that self-care plan, we must follow that plan every day. And that's why building an amazing community around us holds us accountable to it. We go into that isolation, and isolation is not a good place for us. It actually is like going down that rabbit hole. It just gets worse and worse. So again, I applaud you for showing up, talking about the sleepless nights and going into, overwhelm. There's that
Yes.
vicious cycle again. We work ourselves to the bone, even when we're in pain, like I said, I blocked out the pain. I blocked it out. So I had to learn how to feel again. And that's very real for a lot of us.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Imagine driving down the road, enjoying a beautiful day, when suddenly a tree jumps out in front of your car. Crash! In an instant, your life is flipped upside down, both physically and psychologically. That was my reality. I'm Liz Blanding, a certified holistic wellness and trauma recovery coach. In a time when, according to the National Center for PTSD, the epidemic of trauma is on the rise, 70% of adults in the U.S. have experienced some type of traumatic event at least once in their lives. That's 223.4 million people who could benefit from support on their journey to recovery. To address this, I launched the Get Trauma Informed podcast in March 2024. Our podcast offers free information, resources, expert advice, and stories of those who have overcome trauma and shifted from surviving to thriving. The podcast has the capacity to reach hundreds of thousands of people. I believe that by partnering with the Get Trauma Informed podcast, we can provide critical support to many more people who need it. Trauma was not their fault, but recovery is their responsibility. And with your support, we can help them to achieve it. Thank you for considering the partnership opportunity. I look forward to the possibility of working together to make a significant impact on trauma recovery. Email us at info@oasiswellnessctrs.com or contact us at 616-320-0703. Now we will return to our Get Trauma Informed conversation.
And that's why that's one reason why I signed up, because when this assignment or task was given to me, I signed up because I know some of the work you've done to get your regiment or yourself in a state that you could perform adequately on a daily basis. So I knew some of that. So I that's one reason why I signed up for this. I gotta let the audience know there's no one size fit all. because I don't think I'm going to do the 3 hours or the 2 hours you do. I don't think I'm going to do that, but I'm going to glean some things from you that will help me a lot, because I appreciate what you just said a few minutes ago that I showed up. So thank you for that. And that do help, because, that pat on the back, that support helps take me down the road a piece. So there's not one size don't fit all, but I'm going to glean as much as I can from you, and I'll I'll layer them into my routine so I can get a better start and a more consistent start of my day. So I appreciate that, and that's one reason why I'm looking over your shoulder in this event, so I can really get those things in place. So it's almost like I'm yin and yang here today. My energy is low, your energy is high. So I guess the pieces that I don't have, I find them over on your side. So thank you.
No worries at all. This is a real live, example of what the community is all about, right? And I love what you said. I love what you said about there is no one size fit all. Your self-care plan is as individual as you are. And we all have a different experience, right? And so my 3 hours in the morning is a necessity for me to even, because I not only suffered physical trauma but also psychological trauma. So the things that I tell myself, self-talk. I'm reading an amazing book by Marcus Ogden, and it's The Cycle of Success. I think it's a must read for everybody. And the reason that I say that is because it has helped me in this time to overcome some of the self-doubt and some of the things that I was telling myself, even though I'm a very positive person. I encourage everybody around me. Even that, there was a course that I went to many years ago, and the title of it was Who Motivates the Motivators?
Yes.
And so when you are constantly pouring into other people, and it's important that you build that tribe around you in order to help you glean from their experiences. And that's one of the things that I love about the book. And Mr. Ogden does not know that I'm plugging his book right now, but when I read something that really helps me and that is true and it's authentic, right? The authentic story about falling down, getting back up, falling down, getting back up, and that we pivot. All of those things are so true in us building resiliency, right? For us to become resilient. And that's what it takes, So that was one of the things. And so building your library around you, because this is the one thing that it helps. And I'm going to give this away free. These are the things that we're going to learn in our program, not only in the live event, but also in the 8-week course that we are building out right now. And so the 8-week course of Beyond the Battlefield of Trauma, you're going to learn certain things that are going to help, that are going to stick with you. And so, like you said, part of it is building out a self-care plan and a self-care regimen, right? And one of the things is for us to come out of being a people pleaser and trying to please everybody else, because that's part of what sucks our energy too. So having those specific goals and knowing what it is that you want, what is it that you want? And that's another hard part for somebody that suffered through PTSD or complex PTSD, because our mind is always on that hypervigilant space, like what you just said, and it drains us of our energy. So one of the things is building a library. And a lot of us, we sometimes we don't like to read, and it's wonderful to listen to audio books, and it's wonderful to do all of those things. However, when you read a book, you're hearing the words in your own voice. So you are helping to program your own brain. And that's why it's so important to get books such as the one that I just talked about. And also, Pathway to Trauma Recovery. I am doing a shameless plug on that one. It's the Pathway to Trauma Recovery. Our book that's coming out is absolutely incredible, because it not only shows the trials and tribulations of the authors going through different bouts of trauma, but it also shows their journey to excellence and their journey to resilience, their journey to overcome. And the more that we hear about other people overcoming, whether it's overcoming drugs, because sometimes we do those unhealthy habits that anesthetize our pain. So whether it's overcoming drug addiction, overcoming alcoholism, overcoming, sex addiction, overcoming workaholism, overcoming any of those devices that we use to help ourselves to cope right? In order to get through those things, we have to cherry pick what's going to work for us, what resonates with us. So, I mean, not many people like to exercise until you start exercising, and then all those hormones start running in your body. Now you're addicted to it. If you started, what they say, 21 days to form that habit. It's the same thing with water. That's important that we hydrate ourselves. So all of these are the things that we're going to learn and put all together in our own self-care plan as we go through this 8-week program. So the live event, y'all, you're going to get a lot, but in the 8-week program, I'm telling you, it's going to change your life.
Well, you sound awfully coachy right then. As a matter of fact, I think I might need some of your coaching right now because let me hold on, give me a minute here. Hold on.
Yeah, no, we can go for it. I mean,
No,
hey.
because when you said that, one thing came to my mind, and as a matter of fact, one thing came to my mind, and I might, since we're here, since we showed up, as you said,
yes,
one thing that I'm struggling with, and as I heard you talk and watch you go through what you just explained, overwhelm for me is that at the end of the day, I don't know when to cut off. And it's almost like I have an invisible checklist, and I kind of map it out of what I set out to accomplish that day and what I've done. And for some reason, I always put more on my list than I can accomplish. I don't know why. When I decide what I'm gonna do that day, I put 4 or 5 things that I know I can't do, but I still put them there because for some reason it gives me some type of purpose. So how do I cut that off at the end of the night? How do I say I've done enough? I've done all a man can do. I put in my fair share. I've upheld my end. Now go to sleep. How do I do that?
Great question. Y'all, he put me on the hot seat for real. So, so I'm going to tell you what works for me. So okay. I have a book, and for those of you that are listening audio, you won't be able to see it, but I do composition books, right? I have composition books all over the place, right? And each one of my projects are in a composition book. Okay. And so at the beginning of the day, part of the regiment, you're going to write out those things that you want to get done for the day. And you said invisible. So that means you're not writing it down. You're correct. Writing down what and it looks so different on paper in writing than it does in your head. Because in your head, you feel like you can do it all. I can do it. I can keep going. But when you write it down, committed to a schedule, and you put down what you're going to do for each hour. What am I going to do for this hour? And you allow those times. And when you look at it, you say, okay, I know I have to get up every 20 or 30 minutes to walk around, because you're doing your body damage if you're just sitting sedentary and you're not moving those fluids. So you want to write it down. You want to give it a time, right? And you say, okay, from this hour to this hour, this is what I'm going to do. From this hour to this hour, I need to get this done. But you're also looking at it saying, is it really realistic that I say I can do this, this, and this? Because that's a part of workaholism. We give ourselves too many things to do, right? Too many unrealistic things to do. So you set your schedule up and say, this is what I'm going to do. My schedule is mad crazy, because I say from, 5:30 in the morning until, 7:30. And I write down from 5:30 to 6:30, meditate, pray, stretch. I even put in there, don't forget, you have to put in there your shower time, your meal time. You have to put in there your drive time. Now, how much time do you have in which projects are you going to work on? So what am I going to work on from this time to this time? What can I get accomplished realistically? So having that roadmap in front of you, and this is my cutoff time. Okay. So then when you say, this is my start time, this is my cutoff time, this is my time, you got to put in there your meal time, right? Because if you're not putting that in, you are going to start to get overwhelmed. Your body's not going to get the nutrition, that it needs. And you're not going to get your hydration. I have water, and I have my little mixture here with some cayenne pepper for circulation. So I have these things here mapped out. So that helps me to get through the day. So I have my own navigation system. And so if something has to go on my schedule, something else has to come off, right? And if I can't get those things done, I put a little mark to it and I take it over to the next day. And that's how you start to build up a healthy regimen, so that you include your self-care. Now, part of my issue is that I need to balance out like family time. My family is very, very important to me. So I have to balance that out. So what do? You time block. This is family time. This is, when I'm going to do this. And then you stay as close to it as possible. And then at the end of the week or at the end of the day, you reassess yourself and say, wait, did I hold true to what I said I was going to do? And see, that's how that's how you stop from, even like respecting your time, respecting your downtime. You have to have time for meditation, have to have time for prayer. You have to have time for all of these positive habits. Now we're building these positive habits and we're holding ourselves to it. And then you can go back and you can look, we're going to teach in our 8-week program, journaling. Journaling is absolutely important. Oftentimes we think that we can just keep navigating life without writing it down. But when you write it down, it accomplishes a couple of things. There's a psychological transference that happens when you start writing things down. The pen, people have gone to all these digital electronic things, and that's fine. But just writing it down and being able to see it, it helps your brain. Now you're creating that habit. You're creating that flow. So that's one of the ways that one of the methods that you can use to helping yourself to come out of the workout. Then you also see it. You look at it on paper and say, oh my God, is this what I'm doing to myself?
Wow. Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you. Now that, and so, and also are you going to have a transcript of what we're doing, a PDF transcript of what we're doing today? Because
Yes.
you gave me a lot, and I was trying to listen and write at the same time. So if I can get that, that'd be perfect. So thank you. I appreciate that. That was worth the price of admission.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna put a note down for that because I think that's very important. And what you just said too, we all learn differently. So some are auto, they listen through or learn through audio, some are visual. I'm visual. So yes, definitely we'll have that available as well. And as you can tell, I love to teach. I'm a coach. I love to help people, inspire people, and educate people to just be their absolute best. So you're right in my wheelhouse today in my energy field.
Awesome. Thank you.
So we covered it. Well, we can talk a little bit more about sleepless nights, but we also want to talk about how that affects your memory.
Yes, for me, it really cuts me off. My short-term memory is really cut off then, because when I have, like right now, I didn't go to bed till 4. So and we're doing this pretty early in the day. So right now, if you ask me to spell some words, you're gonna get some gibberish for real. So right there, and then things that I have set for the day, I don't remember them. I've got to find my notes and look through that. So right now, that sleepless night has really affected my memory as well as my speech. I'm sluggish. I'm talking funny. I'm drinking a lot of tea, trying to keep this thing going. So that memory loss part for me is really crucial because I'm a writer. I write a lot and I compose a lot of stuff. And when I don't sleep, I have to go to Alexa, and I have to ask Alexa to spell this for me or that, or because I can't, if I'm typing, if I'm putting it on the computer, I can't even put enough words there for the computer to recognize it. So I really have issues.
Well, that's a part, and that's one of the things I think that I applaud you for coming forward and talking about it because a lot of people do, suffer through those specific symptoms of PTSD or complex PTSD. But one of the things that helped me tremendously is little sticky notes and relying on my tools and my technology to help continue. So I'm a writer as well, right? And so, we can't put books out with words upside down. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you.
So these are the things behind the scenes that you do, as far as, like I said, sticky notes, notepads. I'm telling you, I know part of my I'm going to be transparent, but part of my OCD is the notebooks. I think I probably have about 100 composition books everywhere, but there's a method to my madness, a system to it. And so even logging down these things, and you noted yourself, and you said the other day about not sticking to your self-care plan. That's another part of being on the hamster wheel. And so when you keep that in front of you saying, I'm going to get off this cycle of addiction. And what do I need to do? 21 days, I need to write in my book and not deviate from it, right? Not deviate from my schedule that I've written out, not deviate from my notes. And then you'll start forming that habit. So, that memory loss thing is no joke, because one of the things that it takes away, or it starts to challenge your confidence. Because if it's like, if you trust yourself and then now, I can't really trust myself, then there lies some issue there. However, again, just want to let everybody know there is a way for us to build up our resiliency. There's a way for us to build it up so that we can continue to move forward and have beautiful, wonderful lives. Because I like to always remind us that this is an injury. This is something that happened to us. So if we start thinking about, okay, this is what it is, this is the reality of it, but what tools do I have around me to help me to be able to perform better? What do I have around me? We're going to bring those tools out. We're going to talk a lot about some of the holistic practices, that one I've used myself and that I recommend because they help. But it's up to you. Chocolate or vanilla, we choose. And I think that's another freeing space, that we have the ability to decide to say that we want better, we want more for our lives. And so
good deal. Can you give us a look under the hood? Under the hood. Can you give us a lift under the hood? What you got? Because apparently you've got some great things coming up that's going to support us and support our community. And I'm like everybody else, I'm chomping at the bits to get to it. So can you tell us that? And then after you tell us that, I'll give my last act of my second car accident, because I wrecked 4 cars during the Gulf War, and I'll give my second wreck, and then I'll be done.
Absolutely. So we have the 25th of July. We have a live event that's coming up, and we also have a VIP option. But in the live event, you're going to get conversation with us. You're going to be able to ask questions. We're going to give you some different modalities that you can actually take with you. So when you leave out, you'll have some sense of, wow, I have a plan, right? I have a plan, an outline of a plan. So we're going to give you that as well. If you want to actually even go further, and the event is free, right? But if you want to grab a VIP seat, you're going to get, drum roll, please. You're going to get public access. You're going to get free public access, but you're also, I'm sorry for the general admission, but you're going to get admission into the live Zoom event. You're going to have access to myself and also to Coach Rufus here, and you're going to hear even more about our experience with the PTSD and complex PTSD. But for the VIPs, you are going to be able to have a private session. Well, it's going to still be a group session, but a private, more intimate session. You're going to get an autographed copy of the new book, The Pathway to Trauma Recovery. And I'll tell you, that book right there, as we were going over the pre-screening of it and reviewing it, I just could not, I could not contain myself being in a work with so many phenomenal people that come to the table from all over the world, that come to the table to share their trauma story and how they overcame. So you're going to get an autographed copy of that book. And then you're also going to get a lifetime access to the live event, and that's exclusive for our VIP members. And for $47, low cost of $47, that's what you're going to get. And then we're also offering a bonus gift for whoever brings the most people to the event. You will get a bonus gift. So that's what's coming up. We also, a spinoff from that, on the August the 1st, we're going to start an 8-week roundtable program. And that program, you're going to get in-depth information about how to really work with and overcome complex PTSD and PTSD. a phenomenal 8-week, I don't want to say intensive program, but roundtable program. And then after that, in September, even more, because people have asked, how do we all come together as a community and build support in a supportive, safe surrounding? We're going to launch the Roundtable of Support. That's September the 26th. It's going to be a weekly option if you need that weekly support, but it's totally up to you, self-determination to decide to plug in. Best practices say, and I've been doing coaching for the last 4 years with one of my coaches, one of my mentors turned coaches, turned associate, turned friend. We have a daily accountability session, and we help each other to stay accountable to our goals and to just living a better life. And then I have a second coach as well. So, I have quite a few coaches on the team. Think about this. And this is the concept that I grabbed. When a pro athlete goes out to win a game or to be successful, he or she has many, many coaches in many, many fields of expertise to help them get there. And I said, wow, if we had those coaches around us, think about how much better we could perform in life. Even when you have an injury that wasn't your fault, like what we talk about, complex PTSD, when you have an injury that's not your fault, recovery is still our responsibility. So aligning ourselves with the right people can help us or will help us to get there. So that's what we have coming up for you. Woo, that was a mouthful. We also have some other things to help you in the process. So we don't just give you, we're going to give you tools that have been proven that's going to help you to get there.
Okay. After doing the Gulf War, I wrecked 4 cars. And after the 4th wreck, the command gave me a driver because before I killed my fool self. The first one I told you, I wrecked by waiting for a guy and I ran into the building. So the second one, I was still waiting for the same guy. He was waiting. I got there in the building. But here's where my memory loss came in. I forgot to keep my foot on the brakes. Now, this time I parked so I wouldn't hit the building. I didn't park towards the building. I parked long ways with the building. And I fell asleep again, and I took my foot off the brakes. And then again, this time I didn't hit the building. In the military, in the Army, we have water stations. And water stations, we have like a big, we call them water buffalo. It's like a big water container of potable water. And it's potable water, which they make portable through this thing we call the water buffalo. It's really huge and big. And I was facing the water buffalo. So my car got drenched. I hit the water buffalo. And that was my second accident. So with that,
oh my goodness.
Beyond the battlefield of trauma, overcoming military PTSD and civilian CPSD.
Yes. Well, thank you for sharing the water buffalo story. I'm sure we can take that into our day with a little bit of a chuckle because nobody got hurt, right?
Nobody got hurt, but the water buffalo did.
The water buffalo got hurt. I hope you all continue to follow us with the battlefield, with Beyond the Battlefield of Trauma, overcoming military PTSD and civilian CPTSD. And we do hope that you are gaining information that can help you to be resilient in your journey as well. So we look forward to talking with you next time. We'll see you. Bye for now. It's time to buckle up. No more suffering in silence. Our Power Pack journey to recovery and realignment starts now. Remember, you are collateral damage on someone else's warpath. Trauma is not your fault. Recovery, however, is your responsibility. I'm your host, Wellness Coach Liz Blanding, and this is the Get Trauma Informed podcast.